Hello, everyone. I'm glad that you're here. I have to apologize for not producing more content lately. This is not the way that I plan to start the new year. The truth is that for the past several months I've been working toward getting a promotion at my day job. Between working towards that, a few family issues, a bout of stomach flu, and of course our lovely Midwestern weather, I've been a little busier than I would have expected. But I'm back now, and I've come with a whole slew of new stories, just for you. So thank you for being patient with me as I work toward getting us back on a regular schedule again. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you folks listening, because without all of you, I'd just be talking to myself. While today is just a short story, I wanted to give you something for your trouble while I prepare the longer ones. And with that, let's get to it. My name is John Brasser Jr., and these are strange and dreadful things. We don't know why Jürgen Glum came to America. Maybe it was to seek a better life, or maybe he was running from something. Maybe it was just because he felt like it. What we do know is that when he was about 33 years old, he found his way from Germany to a small town in eastern Iowa called Dixon. Being a farmer was very in vogue in those days, and it was considered to be an honest and noble profession. Apparently, Jürgen wanted to be part of that in crowd. He rented an 80-acre farm from Louis Lilienfeld, a former blacksmith turned landlord and real estate broker. For the first few months, everything went fine. Then everything began to take a sour turn. Glum had quit paying Lilienfeld the rent money for the farm, and by 1893 Glum owed nearly $145 in back rent for the property. While it doesn't seem to be that much at first, it would be about $4,890 today. Lilienfeld tried to collect the money, but no matter how much he asked and pleaded, Glum would never pay. Finally, the old blacksmith had no other recourse other than to begin official legal proceedings against Glum. On January 3, 1894, Henry Kuehl, a deputy sheriff for the county, rode out to Dixon to meet Lilienfeld. He was there to serve legal papers to Jürgen. In short, they stated that if Jürgen couldn't pay Lilienfeld what was owed, then the landlord could instead take an equal amount of property in payment. The two men exchanged a few brief pleasantries and then set out to the Glum farm a few miles away. By the time they got there, darkness had fallen on the simple farmyard around the Glum home. Silently, Kuehl and Lilienfeld walked to the front door and knocked, the sharp sound piercing the quiet of the night. A few moments later, Kuehl and Lilienfeld could hear someone moving inside. A woman answered the door, saying that she was Jürgen's wife, Carrie. Kuehl asked if Jürgen was home. She replied that he wasn't. Kuehl explained that he was a deputy sheriff and was there to serve her and her husband legal papers. He paused for a moment, then gave her a summary of what they said. Taking the papers, Carrie said that she understood. It was a pleasant enough night for January, relatively warm for the early part of the new year. Kuehl and Lilienfeld said that they would start assessing goods around the farm while they were there. Carrie nodded and said that she would escort them around. Going back inside, she returned a few minutes later with her coat. Carrie proved to be extremely helpful, guiding them wherever they wanted to go while pleasantly answering their questions. Lilienfeld was thorough in his inspection, even having her escort him out to a distant part of the farm to inspect some hay growing there. Finally, he was satisfied and told Kuehl that it was time to head back to town. Without another word, the trio began to walk back toward the house. They had just passed the barn when they heard someone shout in German, "Fire!" A rapid series of gunshots came immediately after. Kuehl, Lilienfeld, and Carrie ran and took cover as best they could, the shots continuing sporadically. Realizing that their assailants were using his lantern to help aim their shots, Kuehl quickly put out his light. Without the light to aid them in the inky blackness of the farmyard, the attackers were firing blindly. Kuehl and Lilienfeld heard a few more shots, and then the sounds of someone running away. A tense silence followed, the deputy and the landlord listening hard for sounds of movement. After a while, they finally stood up and hesitantly looked around. No one shot at them. Relighting their lantern, the two men checked themselves for any injury. Thankfully, neither of them had been hurt. Quickly, the men left the Glum farm and rode back to town. The next day, Kuehl returned, this time with another deputy. Knocking on the front door of the farmhouse again, Carrie once again opened the door and greeted Kuehl. She informed them that it was her husband, Jurgen, along with William Ganser, another local farmer, who had shot at them the night before. Kuehl thanked her and asked where William Ganser lived. Carrie told them, and the two deputies left. They immediately went to the Ganser farm and arrested William. A short while later, they found Jurgen at a relative's house and took him into custody as well. They were then taken to the county jail in Davenport, Iowa, several miles to the south. When they were questioned, Glum said that he thought that Lilienfeld and Kuehl had come to the farm to extort him for money. Not about to let that happen, Jurgen had decided to shoot at them in order to chase them away. He apparently had no answer for what he would do if he and Ganser had actually killed one of them. Jurgen and Ganser went to court, where they were eventually convicted of assault and fined $100 each. You have been listening to Strange and Dreadful Things. Thank you again for tuning in and listening to another story that your grandma didn't want you to hear. If you liked the show, please help spread the word about us and tell your friends. We post a new episode every other week or so on Spotify, Apple iTunes, and anywhere else you listen to your favorite podcasts. If you want to know more about upcoming episodes and what we're doing, please join our community on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, which you can find under Strange and Dreadful Things.